universal basic income, or UBI. The idea is popular with technologists such as Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Andrew Yang. The idea is not new and has been popular with politicians and economists on the left and right, such as Milton Friedman. So what is UBI? We spoke to experts from around the world.
So basic income is a regular income that goes to everyone. So it's not defined to be a particular amount. It's a way of getting people money rather than a particular amount of money.
Well, there are various definitions around, but the standard one that's on the BN website, for example, is that it's a standard income paid to everybody without any criteria, based solely upon their existence as citizens of a particular country. So it's universal and it's unconditional. It will get rid of means testing in current welfare benefits, which are A, very humiliating, intrusive, and B, create this cliff edge of an effective marginal tax rate of something like 90%, because when people come off welfare benefits, they lose pound for pound if they take a job.
I think the best definition of UBI is the one that Bertrand Russell gave in 1916, long before UBI had that name. He said, a certain small income sufficient for necessaries shall be given to all, whether they work or not. And a larger income should be those who engage in some work that the community recognizes as useful. On this basis, we may build further. So in Bertrand Russell's definition, basic income is not the end and be all of social justice. It is the important thing, starting point that we can build on and build further to be part of a just society.
Universal basic income is first and foremost a guarantee of subsistence and of life for each individual in society. And how that is then done, I think we have different approaches to that.
I think the most important aspect of universal basic income is its unconditionality. So it's money given to people with no reliance on particular behaviors, no requirement that they meet particular obligations in order to receive that money.
It's an idea that everybody receives a regular, secure payment directly to their bank account that is universal, so everybody gets it. It's unconditional. There are no expectations about what you do with that money or what you have to do to get it. And it's paid individually. So it's not to a head of household, it's paid directly to you as an individual, as your right, and to give you the freedom to choose what you do with that secure money on a regular basis.
But I do think that both of those terms, both basic and universal, are much more contentious than they might first seem. So universal, what's universal? Really, the only universal basic income would be one that went to every human being. And so it would be a world basic income. But people, when they say universal basic income, they're normally talking at the national level. Otherwise, you might say it's an Australian basic income, or an American or a British basic income, or whatever the places, or a European basic income, which is on the card. Like if I was king of everything for a second, my idea would be that you'd have a world basic income. So we're talking enough for people in the poorest countries to live on day to day. You know, I don't want to name an amount, $5, $10, something like that, right? Per person, per day in the world. And then each nation would stack on top of that a national basic income, which would sort of top things up towards the cost of living in their country. So, you know, and then you could even go further than that. So California might say, well, it's more expensive to live in California than it is in Idaho, so we're going to chuck in an extra little bit on top, or London. So you could have a London basic income, a British basic income, and then a world basic income, which is the true universal basic income. Because a lot of the issues that we have about inequality within countries would be reduced by a national basic income, but inequality between nations would be greater if everyone sort of did it on their own. Even if India introduced a basic income and Europe introduced a basic income, the European one's going to be a lot bigger than the Indian one. And so you're still going to have this problem of, all of cross-border wage competition, which I think is one of the big problems of globalization, is that you have, the Rust Belt workers competing with people who are desperate. And so actually, if you put a world basic income in place, some of the biggest beneficiaries of that, even though it's only a couple of dollars each for them, are the people workers in the first world. Because all of a sudden, the people who are so desperate to work in sweatshops in Bangladesh would be a little bit less desperate.
There has been some debate on the status of migrant workers, refugees, and asylum seekers. So does universal mean that, temporary residency would be enough? And that's a whole other debate.
It's a simple solution to a simple problem, but the problem looks complicated because when you haven't solved the simple problem in a simple way, you have to solve it in all these other complicated kind of ways.